I appreciate that Ridley Scott just said to hell with historical accuracy. Let's just go make ourselves a movie. And let's put them in a coliseum and let's have them fighting and let's have them doing some really badass stuff. I want sharks and I want Denzel Washington. I don't really want him to like try and tweak his character too much. I just want Denzel Washington
to be himself.
Just messing things up.
Sound the exact same.
Yes. And I want him to, I just want that Denzel Washington charm. I love that move. I love that I didn't have to go into this thinking like, oh man, like I really hope I brushed up on my Roman history. Who cares? I just went and watched and enjoyed a movie, and I did.
You actually liked it?
I liked it. It's a good movie. It's a fun movie.
Sweet.
Yeah.
It's definitely a man-loving movie.
Yeah.
Like when they're like, oh, men randomly think about the Roman Empire, this is what they think about.
Yeah, the Colosseum, the sharks in the Colosseum.
Also, sharks. How'd they keep all that water in there?
Well, they did flood it. That's accurate. They did flood the Colosseum before.
Yeah.
Really?
But I think they would put gators in it.
Yeah.
Crocodiles.
They did not have sharks.
I'm thinking about the sharks. I'm like, the transportation. Like, I'm thinking about the logistics that go into that. Because gators make sense. So you can put them in they don't have to be in water. But the sharks...
Well, Ridley Scott believes that sharks were actually in
There's a sequence in the film with sharks and the water in the Colosseum.
Yeah.
And obviously, the sharks were not there in real life. Did you think that balance of reality versus it's a movie?
You're dead wrong. Colosseum did flood with water and there were sea battles.
Did they have sharks back then?
Dude, if you can build a Colosseum, you can flood with water. You joking? And they get a couple of sharks in a net from the sea. Are you kidding? Of course they can.
There's a sequence.
Good point.
And a net.
I like that he's
like, this is 100% historical accurately. What are you talking about?
No,
he's gonna die on that hill. Like, I don't think there's anything you could say to him to make him like change his mind.
And I
that.
appreciate that. Him just being like, well, first off, he's got the interview and like, wait, there were sharks back then? Crazy question. There were. There were, I promise. But like, I just like that. Like, he's like, no, they flooded it. Like, they were able to do that. True. And then it's like, wait, and they actually had sharks? They could have.
Very easily.
Yeah, why not?
Who's to say that there's just no way they did, you know?
He said
like,
in a net, but would they survive that long out of... I just have such a hard time with that.
Listen, we got pyramids on this planet that nobody can figure out how those got made. So you could, in theory, like, it's honestly, it's a motherfucking... maybe.
Nope. That's it. You're off. You're off the show. Okay. So before we get deep into the movie and what we thought about it, ratings. I didn't say what I liked about it. I liked it. I thought it was good.
Yeah.
I thought it kind of started off a little slow, but it definitely built better. My favorite part about it was the fight scenes. Like, every single fight was so badass.
Yeah.
Like exactly what you want to see. Not quick cuts, not crazy. You get to see the action, watch them battle. It was bloody. It was gory. Like, that's how you want to see a Gladiator movie. You want to see their hands getting chopped off, and I mean,
Dude,
they had some gory scenes.
Yeah,
I love it. Yeah,
Denzel was brutal.
That was crazy.
Denzel was great.
The rhino death.
Yeah,
Rhino
that
death's
was spearing. Yeah,
and honestly, I was getting pretty nervous that they were about to crucify Mama Bear.
Yeah.
I was like, whoa, he's really like, he keeps screaming it, and they got to do whatever that, you know.
Yeah,
doesn't matter like what he's got going on, autistic wise.
What?
No, I think he said the brothers. Well, I think
Artistic.
that, but
Autistic.
Also the brother said that there was. He said the disease on his loins, which makes me think he probably has like syphilis or something, like chlamydia, something bad going on. Yeah, and so. But I guess you wanted to get to ratings. I will say that I also enjoyed it without seeing the first one, and I was able to follow along.
Yeah, they did help you. They made it pretty easy to follow without remembering the backstory too much. If you haven't seen the movie in a while, you know, there's a lot of like deep connections to the first one, but they kind of like they drag your hand along to follow it.
I think my favorite part, which I guess we'll get into it more later, was the casting. So perfect. I thought everyone was great.
Yeah,
and
Paul
the
Mescal.
performance. I thought Paul Mescal was awesome. I love Pedro Pascal too.
See, he doesn't come off as a badass to me, except for the Mandalorian, but you don't see his face.
But I felt like he was like perfect because he's supposed to be this whole like, I don't know. I see him as like a gentleman type character, and so I think his like sympathy towards it and just saying like, this is wrong what we're doing, like I think his character was very fitting.
That's fair, actually.
And you could tell that he loved his wife and he was kind of doing everything for her.
Yeah, because that thought I just had, that came from whenever I first saw him as like the bad guy. Then you finally see he's not the bad guy.
Yeah.
I like that twist. That was a cool little twist of him being like actually the one that's, he's doing the deeds, but he doesn't like doing it. He's just like, that's just following the orders.
Yeah.
But he hates following his orders.
Yeah.
Maybe that's why. Yeah, casting was good.
Yeah.
All right.
Great.
What do you rate it?
7.
Mercedes?
I give it a 7.3.
I'm going to go 7 too.
Yeah, that was good.
Fun movie.
It was okay. Yeah.
You know, I don't think it's going to necessarily echo in eternity, but it's a good movie.
I don't think it's a bad sequel.
You haven't seen the first one.
Well, no, I just mean, but it wasn't like terrible.
As a movie,
I think you could see, you'd be able to tell if it was like a bad
movie
because there's
overall.
been some bad sequels out there.
I could just tell, you know, Ridley's just like, man, like that was so much fun doing the first one. What a great time. And then he's just kind of looking up. He's like, man, the technology's better. Like I could make these fight scenes more realistic or just more gruesome. I could just have a lot more fun. And that's what he did. He was just like, guy, let's just run it back.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody's really asking for it. Nobody expects us to. But like, didn't we all have a good time on the first one? Why don't we just do it again?
Yeah.
Like people will go see it.
It's very similar to the first one.
Yes.
There's a lot of hints back to the first one. So they did kind of, they redid it, but it felt fresh still.
Yeah,
a little bit more fighting. Kind of like giving the audience what they want. Like it's a sequel.
Yes.
It's a gladiator movie. So let's just show you all some more gladiator fights.
Yeah. Like, they did a great job.
Definitely a dude movie.
Definitely. Yeah. It couldn't have come in like better timing either. Cause you know, you just see all these like memes going around of like how much time do you spend thinking about the Roman Empire?
Yeah.
Ridley heard that and he was like, fuck, dude, I never stopped.
Yeah.
I haven't been able to stop thinking about it. And then he just sees Twitter, just a bunch of guys talking about like Roman Empire, and girls are like, oh my God, like how much time do they spend thinking about it? And Ridley's like, oh my God, like they never stop thinking. I'm not alone.
I'm on my 30th draft of Gladiator 2.
It's funny you mentioned that. I like that he saw the meme and then he decided to make the movie.
Right.
This hasn't been like a 5-year thing. He literally just heard about the meme going on like a year or two whenever that happened. And he was like, guys, listen up. We're doing it again.
Yes.
So
he did a good job. It's a good redo.
A lot of fun.
My biggest problem, I think, in the beginning, it started off slow. I was kind of afraid it was going to be not a very good movie because it seemed like, just because it's the beginning, you're not connecting with the characters. Like the death of his wife in the beginning, Paul Mescal's character when he loses his wife in battle, it kind of just felt a little bit like melodramatic. It wasn't that impactful. He didn't really feel anything about it. It kind of just happened quickly. So you're kind of like, okay, so that's why he's going to be. That's why the story's going to start, is because his wife dies. Like, it's just very, like, it's a plot point. It's not like an emotional moment.
Yeah, because you think about the first movie, you know, what they did to poor Russell Crowe. I mean, they killed not only, spoilers for Mercedes, but they kill his wife and his kids.
And his entire village.
Yeah, it's brutal. Like, it's really messed
After you
up.
know him and you're, like, a fan of him, and he goes back to the village, and then you see his family's gone.
You feel
like,
betrayed.
Oh, my God.
You're just like, dude, he better get his.
Right.
And this one, I kind of agree. It's just, you know, you've been thrown into it. It's literally a battle for the first scene, essentially.
Yeah.
You know, they're fighting to protect their village, their homeland. And yeah, there's just not much character development. I agree. It doesn't really impact, like, yeah, he's pissed. But he even makes a joke to his mom at one point in the movie. He's like, got a bad thing for losing people I love. Oh, yeah. You know?
And his mom died
and then
the exact same way his wife died.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, that's a good. I was going to talk about that too. The women in his life and why he like was kind of rejecting. So a point about like that opening scene, obviously it was to plant the seeds of his hatred towards Pedro Pascal.
Yeah.
Lucius.
He was Lucius.
No,
Paul Mescal was Lucius.
No, but Pedro Pascal was Luca.
No,
because it sounded like Luke.
No, he's Marcus.
No.
Hold on.
Because Marcus was not Marcus.
Acacius. Marcus Acacius.
Okay, whatever. So it's supposed to like plant those seeds of his hatred for him, even though it's kind of like, okay, well, we just met these characters. But I was going to talk about that connection of like his mother, you know, sending him off. So he obviously has some animosity towards his mom because of that. But then in that time, he finds his wife, who he loves so much. And that's like where the rage comes from. And that's what he's like living, like the rage about his mother sending him away, but about his wife dying. And then whenever his mom dies, it's rage, but in like a rebuilding way, because his mom's influence and Pedro Pascal's influence like causes him to like believe in that dream.
Yeah.
And to turn the rage into just fighting for the dream instead of something negative and killing.
Yeah, because losing the 2 women in his life, he then transforms both times. Like first is like vengeance, then it's like hope.
Yeah.
Like vengeance in the name of hope.
Yeah. I will say that turn of him like hating his mom and Pedro Pascal and then
he just woke
loving
up.
them.
He just woke up. He was like, actually, I do forgive
fast.
you.
Yeah. It was really fast, and it kind of like happened out of nowhere after the battle with him and Pedro Pascal.
Yeah.
Yeah. He just falls on his knees. He's like, I love your mother and I loved your father. And he's like, all right, sounds good to me.
Cool.
Yeah.
And in the beginning too, it's I wish you could see more about Paul Mescal's character Lucius. I wanted to see him like show off him being a general. Like you just see him fight, he kind of leads his men, but you don't see why he's a badass general like you see Maximus in the first movie. So like you get the hints of it later. You're like, oh, I guess he is a really badass general because he's leading the gladiators like Maximus used to in the first one. So it's kind of like you just have to assume that, but it would have been way cooler to see him like actually be the general like his father was, and you see like, oh, it's just in their genes. Like they can just lead men. Yeah,
and the original like the way he earns the respect from his troops, it's pretty much him also like earning the respect from the audience. You know, you see in the opening scene of Gladiator, him going to battle and like it shows like how brave he is, but also like how clever he is, like crafty, like he's earning the respect from everybody by showing you like, this is why, everybody knows that I'm the best. Yeah. Because I go out and I win.
Yep.
Then you got this guy that just, gets destroyed.
Immediately.
Didn't even have a chance. But you just got to kind of like take it at his word. How does he earn the respect? Bites a monkey.
That was pretty crazy.
And I think like not only that, but he was kind to the other men that he was leading. Like he would like kind of joke with them and stuff. So I felt that he earned their respect in almost like a locker room sort of way and like being on like a team. And that they all like kind of rallied around him.
Because he's clearly the craziest motherfucker. Like he bit that monkey's arm. Like he became a monkey in the fight. He like just fought with their same exact mentality. So you're like, that was a good way to earn the respect of the audience. Then at that point, you're like, oh shit, this guy's fucking crazy.
Yeah. But he also says that he's not a general. Like he led the wall in his tiny like city, the last city that was standing from the Roman Empire. He like led them, which did you notice that the same speech that he gave at the beginning of the movie was the same exact one he gave at the end.
That's cool.
To all the men to like burst into the Colosseum.
Yeah. Talk a little closer to it.
But because he says like before he speaks, he's like, I'm not a general. I'm just a soldier. I was just a soldier.
He says that a few times actually, and then delivers just some of the best speeches I've ever heard in my life.
Best locker room speeches ever.
He'll start. I think he does it 3 times in this movie. He's like, I don't know what you expect me to say. I'm just a soldier. I don't have much to say. And then just kills it. It's like, all right, Mr. President, you got my vote.
Yeah, every single soldier's fired the fuck up. And like, I'm going to die for you.
It's like, dude, okay, you clearly have been planning that one out.
Yeah. Yeah. All night in your jail cell, you've been thinking about, what am I going to say? What am I going to say?
Fuck, if I win, they're going to want a speech.
Denzel was good though. It is funny just seeing Denzel be Denzel. He had a little bit of a Roman accent. Like it was like hints toward it.
No, really, I don't think at all. I don't think that.
The way he like finished some words, it was like he was like just hinting at the accent, but really not really going for it.
That was like Equalizer. That was
my man.
Yeah.
It's just funny because like maybe at the beginning of the movie, Ridley was like, yeah, Denzel, like, why don't you just try and like give me something Roman? Denzel might have done it, and Ridley was like, I put sharks in the Colosseum. Like, I don't have to explain shit for you not having an accent. Like, Denzel, you're going to fuck things up in this movie, and I just want you to do it in Denzel Washington style.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah, because he, like, as an actor and just his demeanor, he has that, like, presence.
He's got that swagger.
Yeah, you listen to him. Like, whenever he says, because I get what I want, now tell me this. Like, it's not even a question. It's just this, like, demeanor that he has when he walks into a room. And so just him bringing that naturally, like you could tell that, like, and I'm sure on set it felt this way, like he just commands attention to any room he walks into with all those robes and everything, and just being very clever. Like Denzel Washington, you just would think is a very intelligent and clever person. And so the way that he was able to rise through the ranks of starting out as a slave for Marcus and then getting all the way up to the top just like kind of adds to it.
Yeah. I love the way he delivered one line when he is pretty much revealing that he's about to trick everybody. The son, I think. He was like talking to the son, but then the old man like comes up to him and he's just like, well, that's why it's politics.
yeah. Cool, because there's rumors of him. I think there was rumors that they cut a gay scene out of the movie with Denzel.
Gee, I wonder which one.
No, like I'm talking about like a legitimate one, like sex scene. I think they filmed one with Denzel.
Well, he kept on saying things that he's like.
That's what they say.
He's like, some days I don't prefer women. Like there were a lot of like gay sexual innuendos.
He's a little bit fruity, a little flamboyant with his clothes.
Yeah. Well, then that guy like being in debt to him, like I really thought they were just about to start making out. I was like, all right, when in Rome, I guess.
Yeah, seriously.
Like, all right, whatever.
Weren't the Romans, they were kind of gay?
Yes.
Yeah, that's some historical accuracy. There you go. Maybe this movie is historically accurate.
They're like, we're keeping that in.
They named a monkey emperor. No,
consul.
Not emperor. Consul, yeah.
And then
First
the second
consul.
Yeah. That's hilarious.
All honor to his name.
But I kind of wonder, because Denzel's such a good actor, the way he like, as he's playing his character and he's always messing with his robe, holding his robe, showing off his jewelry. He's like, wants to be very flashy. So I wonder if that's Denzel portraying that his character is like, he's like creating himself into become the ruler. So like he's putting on the clothes that he thinks you should be wearing. He's like messing with them because like, you know, maybe he's not comfortable in them or he's just like always fidgeting with it because he's like very aware of how he looks because he just wants the part of like being the ruler.
It's essentially the strategy of whether you want me here or not, here I come. Like you can't, you're just going to have to deal with the fact that I'm involved now.
Yeah. And him wanting that, and he's creating himself to be this person. So like him fidgeting with this stuff, maybe it's not comfortable for him, but he just knows this is what it is. And he's trying to just form himself into becoming this ruler. So like those little bitty things he like thought about his character gives it so much backstory. Because like I'm watching him like the whole time, it's like very obvious he's like picking up his robe. He's always playing with it. He's like adjusting it. He wants his like jewelry out. He wants to be shown like, hey, I'm flashy. I'm cool. I'm Denzel Washington.
Well, I think one of like for the sake of like the story, his character, he's just taking advantage of the fact that clearly things are just very, very bad for Rome right now. You just look at two twin emperors who have, one of them has clearly like lost his mind.
Yeah.
The other one, I think that's just how he is, which is just bad.
Yeah.
And so I think it's like kind of showing that, the Roman people are pissed because everything's just wrong. They thought they had like a glimmer of hope 16 years prior. Now this is where they are. The city's starving, and yet all they care about is just going and conquering countries all the way across the other, on the other side of the world. And so everybody's just kind of like, damn, like who's going to step up? So for Denzel's character, he's like, okay, well, like they will be more welcoming to betrayal of emperors now more than ever because everybody just kind of really wants them to go.
Yeah, because they're destroying their country. So he's like, I'm the better solution, even though he wants to destroy the city too.
Yeah.
And also how he gains power is through the main source of entertainment in the empire. Did you notice that? And that kind of like, and we kind of talked about, I guess we talked about it all together later, but how it still ties back to modern day and like modern occurrences. And if you kind of think about things like Hollywood, the people that own those like really, once you own the entertainment and like what people kind of go out and spend money on and live for, that's how you gain power.
Literally.
If you think about like, I mean, major corporations can sway the government however they want, even these days.
Well, there's more factual. There's more facts about that in history than just today. It's the Nazis. Whenever they would come up, the reason why Inglourious Basterds, Tarantino wrote it to be in a theater is because the Nazis would indoctrinate and propagate, like do all their propaganda through film and cinema. It's like a big focus in the movie, and then But what caused the Nazis to be so universally hated across and like just stapled, like Nazis are so bad. We talk about it every single time there's a Nazi in a movie. You're like, you got to stop the Nazis, right? Because they
wait. I just want to go on record here. You always have to stop the Nazis.
Yes,
you gotta.
But the reason why you have that in your head is because movies ended the Nazi regime. Like because everybody would watch movies, watch the Nazis be horrible and kill them. So like everybody got to see and like relate to how evil this was and like relate to the Jewish people that got destroyed by it. So like. The movies essentially ended that entire like idea. Mm-hmm. So, again, entertainment ended the idea here, the gladiator entertainment. Mm-hmm. That's how they were able to, control the Roman Empire.
Yeah.
It's interesting how they do that through entertainment.
Yeah, I thought so too.
This is one last thing on Denzel. This is how you know, like Denzel is just Denzel. This is literally the same character.
Watch out. First part of your life you learn.
This lady was asking him like some advice on life or something.
Second part of your life you earn. Third part of your life you return.
Can you be my therapist?
I already am. First part of your life you learn.
That's just Denzel. That's his character. That's literally who he just played. Yes. Is that guy.
That's just my man.
Yeah. This is basically the same guy from Training Day. Denzel in this movie.
Yeah. I mean, in Remember the Time, in everything, I feel like it's just when you say Denzel, you know exactly who you're getting.
But Training Day, he's like he's manipulating the situation. He's using his power. He's playing politics with the cops. You never seen Training Day? Crazy movie, by the way.
But I just really appreciate it because yes, I think we can all agree. Well, Mercedes hasn't seen the first one, but people that have seen the Gladiator movies were nervous based on the trailer that they were just going to do the same exact story again. Which I really wouldn't have been mad about. The fact of the matter is movies just look a lot better now. Like you can make action-packed scenes like look incredible on the big screen. Mm-hmm. So like why not try and do some justice? But I like that they switched it up. Denzel, the whole time you're kind of thinking like, he's probably one of the good ones. He keeps saying, if you fight well, I'll serve you. I'll get you whoever you want. Yep. Which also crazy promise. You want the general of the Roman army? Okay. Done. Didn't even bat an eye.
Yeah. Well, that's how Denzel gets what he wants. He's like, you want that? I'll find a way to get it.
Yeah. He didn't even, Yeah.
But it's just, it was a good turn to like make him just, like he was a slave of
Marcus Aurelius.
Yeah. Like that happened. I was like, oh shit. Whoa.
Yeah.
He's pissed.
Yeah.
Damn. And he's got all the power.
Yes.
Power.
Watching the characters just evolve into these different, like seeing their arcs of the characters, like Paul Mescal going from just wanted to destroy the general, now actually wanted to save Rome and like, take on his father's legacy and his grandfather's legacy to actually do it. And then Denzel being the good guy and then watching him, his true intention is like to destroy Rome. And then obviously Paul Mescal, you think he's also just like a terrible general. But honestly, that first scene you see him, you see the pain in his face. Great acting there.
You mean Pedro?
Pedro, sorry. Pascal. Yeah, Pedro.
I know.
Pascal. Yes. It's been throwing me off every time like I see the credits. Honestly, from the first scene, I could kind of tell what they were going to do with this character.
Yeah.
Because he's not gloating. He almost like just kind of has a look of shame.
Yeah, and sadness.
That he's like having to burn these bodies. It's all just women and children.
Yeah.
And he's just like, this is, and he knows. He's like, for what? Like I'm going back to my city that hates what we're doing, and like they're so outspoken about how like bad things are, and that they just, it's like, stop conquering. We don't need the world. We need food.
Yeah. How will she feed its people? He asked the two twins.
Yeah.
I was thinking they were going to do with Pedro Pascal and Paul Mescal. I'm going to say Lucius and Acacius. I thought that it was going to be Lucius's rage was going to, like, because his rage is so uncontrollable, maybe it was going to stop Acacius from performing his like help for Rome, his like overturning the government. Because in the Colosseum, like maybe Lucius couldn't have controlled himself, and like before he could let out and tell him like, hey, I love you, I want to help you, I'm doing the right thing, he just fucking kills him. And like he hears it, it's like, oh fuck. I thought they were gonna build it up to where like maybe that twist would happen, to where like the rage and the what he did, he can't redeem himself, or like what Acacius did,
like everything was going according to plan, and now all of a sudden he's killed Pedro, and it's like, oh shit, like I got my revenge, but it was wrong.
Yeah.
But that would have been cool.
I thought it added like a layer to the movie, because I feel like anytime he's in the Coliseum, you kind of like know it's your main character. He's probably going to win. But then whenever it's put together and us as an audience know the full story, but we know that Lucius doesn't, you're kind of anxious.
Oh, yeah.
You're just like, don't kill him yet. Like, let him explain,
Yeah.
you know? So in that scene, I feel like, you know, we had seen him in the Coliseum a couple of times just dominating. And that was like kind of obviously a turn to his character too.
Yeah, but it also makes sense for his character because he's not a guy that listens to the Roman Empire. He hates the Roman Empire.
He's making it
like,
very clear.
If you want me to kill him, no.
Yeah.
Fuck you. I don't listen to what you say. I'm gonna do whatever I want to do. If I want to kill him, I will. But if you tell me to kill him, I'm not gonna kill him.
Yeah. It would have been interesting if they had taken that turn where he does kill him, you know, before he like really understands like what the master plan is, and then he has to like explain to all the soldiers who clearly respect the general. Like before they even fight him in the Coliseum, they like bow. They're like, General. And so if he like had to explain it to the soldiers, you know, he would have been like, he invaded my, he killed, he's banging my mom.
yeah.
You know, that would have been interesting.
But that was a great moment though. Whenever Pedro Pascal does show his men honor, but he knows the only way he's going to win this fight is to take the step ahead. Like he knows it's life or death. He understands the mission here. Like they're going to kill me, or I'm going to kill them. And I like these guys, but I'm sorry, this is war. So like he bows them right when they're off guard, attack.
I think, well, it's a reflection of how he has been treating all of his enemies, that he's like stormed and been like invading and taking over. He has the respect for like, I'm sorry that I have to do this, but I have to do this.
Right.
And you get it. You understand that you got to fight. And, you know, so it's pretty much just like a smaller way of showing like this is how he always fights.
Keeping that character consistent with his beliefs and how he fights.
Well, and she says, his wife says like everything he did was for Rome, but I also think a lot of it just comes out that he loves his wife, and I think that's pretty apparent. Like the first thing that he says to the twins is like, I want to go home to my wife, and then they threaten him with like threatening her situation, that they're kind of allowing her to, which is pretty crazy to me that they would allow a past emperor's like daughter to remain alive, I guess.
But he was just so respected in Rome.
Yeah.
That's the whole thing. He was just so respected.
Yeah, the people,
but
well,
like,
and they said that if you kill her, the people would be
she's talking more of like, how was she even able to like be a part of power, I suppose, like growing up.
Hold
like,
any sway,
Yeah, but she's badass, that's why. You know, somehow she figures it out, I suppose.
Yep. Yeah. I thought in the beginning I was kind of feeling like a lot of the backstory of Lucius getting played out with like him escaping. Like we didn't really need that. Like that's where you could have cut the 20 minutes out, is like all these flashbacks to Lucius escaping. Like we understand he did. We don't really need to see how he did.
Yeah.
And like they keep playing these like things of him being back and stuff. It's like he's kind of, I feel like it's just wasted screen time because we know he escaped clearly. From the first movie, Maximus said Lucius is safe, and then they, you know, you can assume he clearly got out because here he is.
Yeah.
I disagree. I don't think it was too much. I don't think it spent a lot of, I don't think it was 20 minutes of the movie of them showing, but I mean, he ended up in Africa. So me as a person watching, maybe I would have been like, well, how the hell did he get to Africa?
Yeah.
You know, and I honestly can't even recall that specific scene where they, I guess at night they show him getting on a horse. I would say there's only 2 scenes where he escapes.
Yeah. I'm not saying there's 20 minutes. I'm saying that's where you start chopping it up and making it shorter. How long was it?
Yeah.
It was like
2:30.
Yeah.
I was about to say this movie actually felt like the perfect amount of time for a movie of this caliber.
Yeah,
to me.
it's a historical epic. It's Gladiator.
Yeah.
They're gonna put it on a big scale. It's gonna be a long movie.
Yeah.
Hour 40. That'd be like, whoa, it's over.
Hour 40. There's just no shot. There's just no way of making that happen.
Yeah.
Not hour 40, but I think 2 would have been pretty fair. Maybe 2:10. I think it was just a hair too long. Like towards the end, and maybe I just had to pee. But I was just like, I was just looking at my watch like, oh my God.
There might have been some bias.
I was like,
in regards to how he got to Africa, that would be cool. Find out how he got there in Gladiator 3.
Yeah.
And it's like 16,
the prequel.
Yeah, 16 years after Marcus. Well, actually, no. Make it like 8. Okay, we're gonna go back 8 years. In Gladiator 3, we're gonna meet you right in the middle. So that would be cool. Hey, let me ask you: did you think that Russell Crowe was about to pop up at the end there?
like a imaginary.
Yes, like when
and
he
say
was,
something coy.
yes.
I was worried.
No, like, you know, like he was like gonna go see him in the dream world.
Yeah.
You know, when he was like touching, he was like, "Speak to me."
Yeah.
And then you see the hand in the
from the first
pasture.
movie.
I was ready because did you see like an interview that he did? Somebody was like, "Did you know they're making Gladiator 2?" And he essentially said, "I don't give a fuck."
Yeah.
And they were like, "Wait, are you involved in it in any way?" No. How could I be?
Yeah.
You know, and like Russell was pretty much saying like nobody even told him that Gladiator 2 was being made. And
because in that interview they're like, well, are you involved? Are you gonna do anything? He's like, no, my character's dead.
Yeah.
He's like, I'm done with the movie. My character's no longer in the world.
That's why I thought we were gonna see him. I was like, he played us.
He
Russell Crowe'd us.
Yeah.
That was good.
Like the Spider-Man No Way Home.
Yeah.
When they were interviewing like Andrew Garfield and he was like swearing up and down, we're like, you're literally lying to our faces right now.
Yeah.
I thought he was gonna say something at the end. Like, but it is cool having him like be there, like talk to me, Father, because you understand he's now leading Rome.
Yeah.
So he's like, guide me. Like, I don't know how to do this. So like, it's kind of going back to like Marcus Aurelius of being like the leader of the most powerful army, and he would reflect all the time and just figure out like what's the best way to do this, how to be the best man possible. Like that's where stoicism comes from. And so having him be there, like, talk to me, Father, because he like wants to lead the right way. So it's like a cool moment of like touching back to his ancestors.
Yeah.
Like meditations. A lot of leaders used to like have meditations and write them down and stuff. Bringing back Russell Crowe. I was debating, me and Gray were going back and forth on this like off camera. But I'm just saying that I didn't see his performance, but if you just look at the faces of Paul Mescal and Russell Crowe, is Paul not more Roman? Does he
100%.
not look like a more like gladiator leading man?
It's the hair too.
It's the hair, it's the bone
beard.
structure, it's the fact that they showed a freaking marble statue of Marcus Aurelius as a young man, and we're like, well, duh, like how has no one like put it together? Like what the hell?
Yeah.
And then you look at him and it's like, well, whether they made that bust like to look like him specifically, he just looks like a Roman like god.
Yeah, he does.
You know?
He's got those features.
Yeah. Get the
God?
chisel nose and, well, maybe not a god, but you know what I mean.
I get it. You put a guy on the big screen, got a little man
Just
crush
saying,
on him,
didn't
huh?
hate it.
Now you're calling him God.
I'm not calling him God. I'm just saying.
Do we need to discuss our vows? Do we need to go over those again?
What's cool about
It's still Russell Crowe, by the way.
what?
He's the better one.
Yeah, I agree.
Well, and I think Young, he was like pretty good. He was okay.
It's just good to see Paul Mescal because he has better fight scenes, because now they can film better fight scenes. So like you just see him being more of a badass, but from the first movie, just the way they like told the story, Maximus is the badass, leading the armies, being the gladiator that rose up as a general, beloved among everybody in Rome. He's more badass, definitely.
Yeah.
But so I was gonna say, what's cool about you? So generally, when you write like a story, you want a lot of screenwriter teachers. They teach the enemy, like whoever's the antagonist and the protagonist, they usually want the same thing. Like you need to have them wanting the same exact goal. So in this movie, that plays out perfectly. Denzel Washington wants control of Rome, and at the end, Paul Mescal wants control of Rome too. They want to like fix Rome, but in different ways. Denzel wants to destroy it and just like rebirth it from like this ground up, but Paul Mescal wants to like redeem it with like the hope and the dream that his grandfather had. So it's cool seeing them both, like they're both fighting for the same thing. That's why like the standoff at the end works so well, is because you understand they're both fighting for control of Rome at the end of the day. Despite them going through different ways and different routes to get there, they're still trying to take a hold of the same exact thing.
Well, and they both think that their way is like the best way for Rome, you know, which obviously like someone that's going to be the antagonist and that wants like the downfall of the opposite of what the audience wants. It's Denzel's version of that story is his version of like mercy for the people. He was like, this is an awful empire that has done slavery for years and years and years, and it needs to fall, you know? And it's not really a super like evil, I guess, idea. It's just his version of mercy for the people.
Yeah, starting from scratch.
Yeah.
Ruining it.
I didn't even really I didn't really get that. Does he mention that he wants to like burn it down and build it up?
Yeah, he said it must fall. Not that he wants to build it up, but he just thinks that
I was I was always under the impression this whole movie that like, well, once you find out that he's a pissed off dude, pissed off ex-slave, that like all he wanted to do was just destroy Rome. Like that's what he wants to like be remembered for.
Yeah.
I don't really think he cares for the power.
No, yeah.
He just wants to finally put this terrible place that is like, to him, conquering world, trying to conquer the world and like ruining other countries that, they're not doing anything wrong. He's just like, this is bad.
Yeah.
Like the idea of Rome needs to be crushed.
That's what I mean. That still is control over. He wants to control the outcome of Rome.
So I see what you mean.
Not that he wants to become the leader, but he wants to be the one that decides the fate of Rome, which his fate is destroy it.
Which in the way that you explain that is really interesting because that's also true. Like the Rome that it's become has to fall. And they both kind of agree with that point. It's just how do you go about it? Do you let it burn or do you reform it?
Yeah, that's when you always have great conflict, is whenever they both want the same thing, but their ideas about it are way different. Yeah, so that's what they fight for. That's why Thanos is so good because, he wants control of this universe. Like he thinks the only way to fix it is to kill half the population, but the Avengers think the only way to save it is to just defeat people like him.
Yeah, it's always a good villain when you have the audience being like, well, it's kind of a good point.
Damn, man, it's kind of a shitty empire.
Dude, Rome really does suck, man. Like, because you see Paul, after the general is killed, and he's like, is this Rome? Like, y'all literally just gave this guy a standing ovation. The armies are at his command. Like, he has people that trust him, and y'all just want me to kill him for fun. Like, y'all are clearly done for.
Yep.
Like, you got to see that. And that's why it's so good to show the soldiers, like, finally pulling back and, like, actually sending off the arrows and, like, hitting the common folk.
Yeah.
It's like, oh man, like he was right. Like we're really in a bad place right now. I mean, like they're killing us for just yelling essentially.
And that's a good moment going like from the first one, because Maximus's moment is like, are you not entertained?
Yeah.
He's like, I done this. I killed all these people. Like, isn't that what y'all want? Don't you want me to kill everybody? So this is the same exact moment for Lucius of being like,
is this what, like,
he's like,
seriously?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Also, if you would have pulled the Lucius at the very beginning, where his village that took him in and raised him and where his wife was at was being conquered, if you would have put what the character that he was at the beginning with what Denzel Washington's character wanted at the end, they probably would have agreed on the same thing, because he was like, I hate the Roman Empire. They're just conquerors.
That's why Denzel made him his like prodigy to work with his instrument, like he said, like, you're my instrument to this, because he has the rage, which is exactly what Denzel has, the rage. Yeah. It's like, I see it in you. He's like, you're gonna help me do what I need to do. Yeah. But then it ends up, good versus bad.
Yeah, chopping off your fucking hand. Oh my God,
brutal.
That was really brutal.
Just an insane death for Denzel, and you just know Denzel was like, what if he cut off my hand?
Yeah.
And Ridley was like, what if, Denzel? I like where your head's at. Like, I should have put you in the first one somehow. Speaking of just like kind of like unnecessary death, it's an epic death. So like, I love how he went.
I love death.
I love watching Denzel get killed like that, just split in half pretty much. No. Kidding. Denzel's literally my man. I love Denzel.
Love you, Denzel.
But remember in the beginning of the movie, like the guy that was in his village with him, and like he helps kind of cast his arm up. Do you remember this character?
Yes.
Like from his first village, and like they're on the ship, like when they're first being sent to like go fight, and he like has the big gash in his arm.
Oh,
like
yes.
His arm's broken, and he helps it. And that guy, I mean, you talk about just seeing pure honesty in a character. He straight up, Paul's character, Lucius, he's telling him like, we got to fight. I loved my wife. Like, blah, blah, blah. Like, but we got to keep living. And that guy is just saying,
my time is past.
I'm good, actually. I'm going to call it quits. And then he's like, no, like, stay a while longer for me. Says something like that. and they get in the Coliseum, he didn't lie.
Immediately.
He just laid down and just took it on the neck, just dead. And I really thought he was going to play an important role in this movie. And then he was just like, no, seriously, like I'm not making it like past whatever they have in there. It's going to kill me. And like, because I'm done. I don't want to be a slave.
He doesn't want to be a gladiator.
Yeah.
It's a rough life.
You go live another day. Like whatever is past the door between life and death, I'm going to go through that.
Yeah, he doesn't have that rage. Then nothing's fueling him anymore. He's kind of like, my village is done. I'm a prisoner of war. I'm an older guy.
Then they put
my time is done.
Then they put rabid monkeys that are angry in there, and he's like, "Yeah, I've seen it all. Clearly, I was already checked out, but oh my god." Like,
okay, let's stay on this. Let's stay on this. Imagine if you were in the Coliseum at a fight, and you're thinking like, "Okay, I'm a soldier. I think I could beat whoever's going to stand in front of me." And then just like 20 monkeys that are like, look like dogs run out. You're like, wait, what the fuck?
Yeah, wait, okay. Like clearly you don't want the humans to win. Like it's
ravaged monkeys.
Yeah, they come out and they are, bro. Again, we're talking about, you just got to throw out like historical accuracy or just accuracy in general. Those monkeys are strong.
Yeah.
You are not actually like choking one of those bad boys out, and like kind of like if you meet him in the air like arms in arms, he wins. They are way stronger
and quicker
than human and quicker. Yeah, it's so, but it's like no. Who cares? I said monkeys that are mad, I am getting monkeys that are mad. It's like okay, Ridley. It's just stop asking questions.
You gotta have the savagery of Lucius to beat the monkeys.
Yeah, but then everybody else lives. So it's like, well, he didn't have to bite the monkey to live.
He really didn't.
Everybody else figured out a way to survive.
That is a weird point that after the battle's done.
Yeah, like all the other people are just gone.
Yeah, it's like, what happened to them, all the other monkeys? They all killed him at the same exact time? Like, what happened?
And also, when he's fighting this one monkey and the other monkeys are looking at this fight, why are they not jumping on him to help their brother out?
Because they're like, bro, this guy's fucking crazy.
Yeah,
he just bit his arm.
He just bit. We usually do that.
That's why the fight ended. Denzel was like, oh my goodness. Like, did he just, whoa. Like, the whole crowd's just silent, just, brother, did he just bite that monkey on the arm? And
Denzel knew he was going to win his little plan when he found the soldier that would bite the monkey's arm off.
Yeah, he was like, oh my God, we did it.
This is better than I could have asked for.
Yeah, oh boy.
That's what I think that's what that friend that lived a very short amount of time, like the purpose was to like build up that rage. He like watched him get... because this is someone that he said when you first came to our village. So this is someone that like raised him.
Yeah,
good point.
And he just watched this thing like rip out its throat. He's just like, it just like fuels him.
And
So
I get that, but it kind of goes back to what Cade said at the beginning of this episode. It was like, it just kind of fell flat.
Yeah.
They didn't really build that relationship up to where like honestly, I kind of chuckled. Like when he just got bit and like, just flops on the floor and is just dead.
Yeah.
It was like, man, like he was not kidding.
No.
He was checked out. Like literally just gets on his knees and he just...
Also, I think he was a spiritual figure in that village.
Yeah.
Because, and so I think like people that are in, because he was the one that was collecting the offerings before the Romans came. So I think that also plays into, he was probably some form of like priest in the village, and so he's like very at peace with himself. And because I don't think it would have made sense if they didn't show an afterlife type of thing, which was the scene with his wife getting on the boat whenever she died,
with
and
the Grim
being
Reaper.
with the very, I mean,
that is
very typical Grim Reaper. Yeah.
But it looks like the people that used to like the coin in the Greek mythology, the coin you pass and you get the like.
Well, yeah, for the boat ride to get across to the other side, and so she's getting on the, I don't know what that's called,
well,
but she's getting on the boat, so it almost ties it to like a religious sort of aspect, which was obviously historically very big around that time, and Christianity and all that. But so I think that character just, I don't know. Maybe I'm just trying to make something out of nothing just to prove you wrong, Gray.
No, but it's a good point. He's definitely. That's why he's so calm to drop down. Because he's probably at peace with himself.
Yeah, he knows where he's going.
The movie was pretty though. All the shots, like the whole movie was pretty. Like it literally puts you into the world of. There's not anything that takes you out of like the way the colors are. It doesn't take you out of this Roman, world. They're dirty. The colors are like that gray Roman tan look. All the shots are beautiful. Seeing the massive scale of the Colosseum. I'm so glad that the fights were all in the Colosseum. Because Gladiator, the first one is like they built up to the Colosseum. Like you had to like earn your way to get to the Colosseum.
Yeah.
This movie, they let you jump in it right away.
The monkey fight wasn't in the Colosseum, not in the big one, but it was in a Colosseum, in a small one.
Was it? Not the, it wasn't.
That was
Right. It wasn't.
Yeah.
That was at Denzel's mini Coliseum.
Yeah. At his practice one, and then he took him to the party and he killed that guy, and then they're like, okay, now you're fighting in the Coliseum.
Yeah. So seeing that scale of the Coliseum with the cool shots of it, them walking out, it was a pretty movie. Especially the afterlife scene was cool.
Yeah.
Epic.
Yeah.
The black and white looked very stylized and cool.
It's refreshing, to actually go to the movie theater to see a sequel that you're kind of on, the fence about being made. Kind of reminds me of that Joker 2 movie. But it was just nice. We actually I didn't want to burn Hollywood to the ground after seeing this one.
What's the best sequel you've ever seen? I already know mine.
Well, what's yours? I don't know.
Top Gun Maverick.
It's a great one.
Yeah.
They killed it.
I think that was probably the best.
They killed it.
Well, okay, wait. Dune Part 2 was pretty badass.
It's just hard to classify that as a sequel.
Yeah, I was about to say, I wouldn't say it's a sequel. It's just like a continuation. But Top Gun Maverick was awesome. And that's a good comparison to this because it's like years later. You're picking up after a movie that came out. When's Gladiator, the first one? 2000?
2000.
Yeah. So you're going decades after the first one came out. Similar with the first Top Gun. That cinematically, the technology has gotten way better. And they actually did improve on the parts that they could have.
We can do this movie more justice. We can show people how badass things really were. In comparison to early 2000s or in Top Gun's case, that was an 80s movie.
Yeah, yeah.
So, the technology's not there. And it was still, Top Gun is one of those movies that it's just perfect. Everything is done great. Writing, how they, all the shots, everything. But and so they're just listen, we can just make it look a little bit better. We can show you how cool this really is, and so we're just blessed, to be in this time where people are just we can really make movies look good now.
And because of the fact that the Rome is falling, it's way more corrupt. The people there are more evil. It's just the empire is just corrupting and about to break and fall. And so it makes sense using the technology to make the gladiator fights way more insane with the sharks, with the monkeys. All the fights are a lot crazier. The rhino, because as you see as the Roman Empire's corrupting and falling, the people want more violence. So bringing the technology to this and making the fights crazier, it makes total sense within the story too. So multi-level, it works in all ways to make it cooler to watch and also make sense within the story.
Which one would you prefer? Death by monkey, death by rhino, or death by shark? I'm going to take rhino. I'm terrified of sharks, by the way. It's
I'm terrified of sharks, but I think I would.
You're saying fight or you are going to 100% get killed?
Yeah, you're going to die. Which way you want to go out?
Definitely not getting my throat ripped out by a monkey. I think.
Agreed. I'm going rhino.
Shark.
I think shark, even though sharks are also a top 3 fear of mine as well.
But also the shark could go for your leg first, and then it goes for the other leg, and then it gets your finger, and then it goes for part of your midsection, and then it kills you.
Yeah, that rhino, that horn, on top of the fact that if it doesn't just step on you.
I thought I was going to get trampled. I thought that's how that guy was going to die.
That was that was like a Rick and Morty type death to me.
Speared by a rhino.
He's like, cowards. It's like, no, dude, logic. It's just logical.
Yeah, what are you doing?
Well, you don't, it's the equivalent of man versus car, you know, from Rick and Morty, and the car always wins.
Yeah.
He's like, wait, wouldn't the car always win? Man versus fully grown rhino with a guy also on it with weapons. And it's well, Rhino is always going to win, like in that one-on-one.
Yeah, he wants that glory. He wants that Roman glory.
He's like, why should we listen to you? And everybody's like, because it makes fucking sense. We were already going to do it. Like, we didn't need him to tell us to avoid the Rhino.
Yeah.
Like,
well, that's a good point. If we go back to how did he get the trust of all the other guys, was that they saw what happened when one guy didn't follow his lead. Yeah. And that was his first time like taking lead and leading the other guys.
And then beating the Rhino.
Yeah, and then beating the Rhino. They're like, oh, what he said worked. And then in the naval fight, he was leading it and he like
it was
led him to victory.
That was cool seeing him in general, because when you see Denzel's face, once he like does the plan of like destroying their oars, and so they like lose control, and then they like break stuff, so like they're getting hit, and then while they're attacking, while they're next door, and Denzel's laughing like, man, this guy's good. Mm-hmm. Like he is a soldier. Like this guy knows how to fight in all areas, boat, by sword, by monkey.
That was by monk. That was his Russell Crowe, his like battle scene was at the very beginning. That was with the ships. Mm-hmm. So that was just really cool. They do show him, like clearly this is the Prince of Rome.
Yeah.
For a reason.
Yep.
But just I had fun watching this.
I did too.
It didn't necessarily blow me away, but this was a fun movie. This is a good one to go see in theaters while it's in theaters.
100%.
In theaters, yeah.
Watching those fights in the Coliseum fights in the theaters, it's cool.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you guys for listening. If you've seen Gladiator 2, drop below your review and what you thought about the movie. Let us know what you rate it out of 10. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and we'll see y'all next week. We're out.
Trying to buy my next meal. Seems all I do is drive. And when the boss man sends my next check in the mail, I'll have enough for closing time. And I've been cussing like a sailor since I ran out of weed. My tank is running dry, so I'll head on down to the railroad track and tell that man I need a ride. He says you're just in luck, 'cause there's one more seat. There's just one more thing before you proceed. Just throw me a 5 and we'll call it a deal.